Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon and today we're making 10 best Oreo recipes. Most of these are quick and easy so you can make some yourself this weekend or just watch the video and wish you got to come over to my house and eat them. At number 1 we have the classic 3-ingredient Oreo Truffles. For this you'll need Oreos, cream cheese and chocolate. Rather than boring you with all the ingredient quantities for every recipe, I'm just going to list them all on the howtocookthat.net website for you and I'll link to that below. Put the Oreos and the cream cheese into a food processor and process on high speed until it begins to form a ball. Now if you don't have a food processor, you can just use a rolling pin and crush up the Oreos into a powder in a bag and then pour them into a bowl. Add the cream cheese and mix those together well. Take a tablespoon of that mixture and roll it into a ball and place it on a tray. By using a tablespoon, you'll make sure that each one is exactly the same size. Once they're made, put them in the fridge to firm up. Now that they're chilled, dip each one in chocolate just by dropping it in, covering it over and then using a fork to lift it out. Tap it on the side of the bowl to get rid of any excess and then place it back onto the baking paper on a tray. And you can do them all in white chocolate or you can do a mixture of white and milk or you could use dark and then drizzle them in contrasting coloured chocolate, just using your fork and letting it run down over the truffles. Or for something different, you could decorate them by sprinkling over some crushed Oreos. For a more complex Oreo truffle with the little white bit in the middle of each truffle, you can see my chocolate truffles video. I'll link to that below. At number 2, we have Oreo freak shakes. Take a tall glass and smother around the top in tempered chocolate, just spreading it all the way around. Dip the chocolate into roughly chopped Oreos so you get them all over the glass and then put that into the freezer for a couple of minutes. Place a generous amount of ice cream into a blender and add Oreo thins and some milk and blend on high speed until it's smooth. I'm using Oreo thins, not normal Oreos here, and that's because there's a higher ratio of filling to the biscuit bit, which means we're going to get more of that vanilla filling taste in our milkshake. Add some more chocolate to the inside of the glass and then pour in the thick shake. Pipe the whipped cream around the rim of the top of the glass, then into the center and up in the middle. Drizzle that with more chocolate and then decorate with mini Oreos and serve immediately. At number 3, we have deep fried chocolate Oreos. To make these, you'll need 1 batch of the donut dough and you need to let that rise once. If you don't know how to make donut dough, just search for Reardon and donuts and you'll find the video on how to make that. Break off a piece of the dough and flatten it out, then add an Oreo to the center and then wrap the dough around the Oreo, squeezing it together and sealing it in. Then roll it slightly to smooth it out. And you want to place those on a tray and leave them in a warm place to rise. And if you're like me, you may want to add an extra square of chocolate onto each Oreo before you enclose it in dough so that you get a little bit more gooey chocolate in each one. After they have risen, place them in hot oil and let them fry on each side until they are golden brown. Then dip the tops in sugar and place them on some paper towel. Serve them while they're still hot so you get that gooey melted chocolate in the middle. At number 4, we have 3-ingredient Oreo fudge, and all you need for this one is Oreos, sweetened condensed milk and white chocolate. Roughly chop your Oreos and then pour the sweetened condensed milk over the white chocolate. I love the way sweetened condensed milk just runs down. And then heat that in the microwave until the chocolate is melted. Stir it together well until you can't see any more streaks of melted chocolate and then add in your Oreos and stir again. You don't want to overmix this because we want big chunks of Oreo in it. Pour it into a lined tray and spread it out right into all of those corners. Add your mini Oreos on top, or you could use some chunks of normal Oreos if you don't have minis, and then place that in the fridge to set. Once it is firm, use your baking paper to lift it out of the tin and then slice it into even squares and place it on a board or a plate to serve. Next is super easy ice cream sandwiches. All you need for this is ice cream and 2 packets of Oreos. Take 1 pack and smash it using a rolling pin and then pour that into a bowl. Add lots of vanilla ice cream and then leave it for a few minutes to soften. Stir it all around to mix in the Oreo chunks and the Oreo crumbs all the way into that vanilla ice cream. And then once it's mixed, you could eat it just like this, or you can tip it into a lined baking tray and spread it out and then put it in the freezer for about an hour or 2 to reharden. Open up the other packet of Oreos and remove the filling, and then use a cookie cutter to cut cylinders of ice cream. Place one end on a cookie and push the ice cream out of the cutter, and then add another cookie on top, and you have an Oreo ice cream sandwich. You're going to want to place those in the freezer, of course, until you're ready to serve them. Next, we have to make an Oreo cheesecake. For this, you will need cream cheese, sugar, milk, cream, Oreos, chocolate, gelatin, water, butter, and more Oreos for the base. Melt the margarine or butter in the microwave and process 1 lot of your Oreos until you have fine crumbs, or you could of course bash these with a rolling pin like I showed you earlier. Then add the melted butter and stir to combine. Line the sides and base of a container with non-stick baking paper and then add in the Oreo mixture and spread that out to make the base of your cheesecake. Place that in the fridge while we make our filling. Add the cold water to the gelatin and stir it well, and then leave that to one side. Place the cream cheese and the sugar into the bowl of an electric mixer and mix it together until you have a smooth mixture. Now add in your milk and whip it together again until there are no lumps. Now you want to split that mixture into 3 bowls. 1, 2, 3, making the third one slightly bigger. To the bigger bowl, add some vanilla and stir that through. And for our second bowl, we want to crush up a packet of Oreos, just hit them with a rolling pin again, and then mix them through. It doesn't matter if there are still some chunks in there, we can have some big bits and little bits, that's fine. And then for the last bowl, you want to take a scoop of the cream cheese mixture and stir it well into the melted chocolate, and then add that back into the bowl and mix it together. Place the cream in a separate bowl and whip it to form soft peaks, and then place the gelatin in the microwave to melt it. Split the whipped cream up evenly between the 3 bowls, and then add 3 tablespoons of gelatin to the vanilla bowl and fold it all together. Pour the vanilla layer onto the base and then put that back in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Add 2 tablespoons of gelatin to the Oreo layer and mix that together really well so that your cream and your gelatin are all mixed in, and then pour the Oreo layer over the vanilla one and return it to the freezer. Once it's starting to set, we're ready for our chocolate layer, but by now your gelatin will definitely be set. Just microwave that again for 20 seconds to melt it, and then add it to the chocolate mixture, folding it together, mixing it up really well, and then pouring that over your Oreo layer. You want to give it a little shake to smooth it, and then put the whole thing back in the freezer overnight. Freezing it just makes it easy to get out of the container. All you need to do is put it into hot water until you feel it loosen from the edges. Then you can pull it out, peel the baking paper off the bottom, and place it onto a cake stand or plate. Peel the paper off the outside and then pipe dollops of cream going around the outside, dragging it in towards the center of the cheesecake. Once you get all the way around the edge, then just start to make another smaller circle in the same way on top of that cream about halfway in. Then when you get to the middle, add some extra cream piled up in the middle, and then place Oreos around the top and some Oreo wafer sticks piled up in the middle. Finish that off by sprinkling it with some crushed Oreo, and then you want to cover that in plastic wrap and let it defrost in the fridge overnight before serving it. For number 7, it's time for me to invent some new recipes for you. How about a super easy 2-ingredient Oreo mousse? I have a theory that if I chuck a packet of Oreos in a bowl with a carton of cream, cover it in plastic wrap and leave it in the fridge overnight, then by the morning the Oreos should be soft enough and it should whip up into a thick mousse without the need for any other ingredients, hopefully. It's working! It's thickening up beautifully. Place that into serving glasses and decorate with mini Oreos and a sprinkling of grated chocolate. Yum! And so easy to make. At number 8, we have the cutest mini cakes you've ever seen. All you need for this is cream, icing sugar, vanilla, and of course Oreos. Add the vanilla and the icing sugar to the cream and whip that until you get firm peaks. Place an Oreo on some baking paper, add some cream, another Oreo, more cream, don't worry if it goes over the edge, that's fine. Top it with another Oreo, more cream, and now spread the cream evenly around the sides and level off the top so it looks like a tall cake. Now I'm going to decorate this one with sprinkles on the side, all the way around, and a little icing flour on top in the middle and more sprinkles. Now if you leave these in a sealed container in the fridge for a few hours or overnight before serving, the Oreos will soften and then it will be like layers of cake. You will of course probably need to make 1 cake per person. Next we have mint Oreo plant pots. All you need for this is some of my easy 2-ingredient Oreo mousse and a little bit of peppermint essence to taste. Stir it together and spoon it into mini plant pots. I like to use the glazed ones so they can be washed in the dishwasher, and then spoon some crushed Oreos over the top. Now you can spread this around and flatten it down, but then make sure you sprinkle some extra loose bits on top so it looks like dirt. Just before serving, add a sprig of mint into the top of each one, and these will have your guests asking, are they edible? Followed by, how did you make them? And number 10 is Oreo art, and this one is over to you. Take an Oreo, open it up and draw something, anything, in the icing. Take a picture of it and upload it on the How to Cook That Oreo recipes page. There's a link to that below, or you can just go there and vote for your favourite ones that other people have done. And the winner will get a cool prize pack. All the details are on the website. Subscribe to How to Cook That for more crazy sweet creations. Press the bell to turn on notifications and then you're really actually subscribed. Here's more 10 best recipes for you. This is the link to my website and this is the latest video. Make it a great week by baking for a friend, and I'll see you on Friday.